Good morning. So, right now I'm walking to the gym. So I should set my watch to see how much calories. I think I could hit 1,000 calories today. I think. Give me a second here. But yeah. So tomorrow I'm gonna eat pizza. I need some pizza. Man. I haven't had. Well, I do eat Hot Pockets like almost every day, which they're not healthy. But but but. Yesterday I took the bus to my therapist, and which whatever I don't got an issue with buses, other than they always be late. I thought I saw a bug of interest, but yeah, I don't like bugs on me, but I do like to see interesting bugs. Anyway, so the buses around here be late. This bus was 2 minutes late, but whatever. When I was standing out there waiting for the bus, this car pulls up. So now I'm at the stoplight. They pull up. He looks over and he gives me a nod. You know, black people do that. Although I don't be looking in people's cars like that. But I'm just looking over, and he does one of those "what's up?" I say "what's up?" And then when the light turned green, he rolls it down. And he says, "Have a great day, brother." I'm like, "You too." I'm not used to that around these parts. People just be mean mugging you, just waiting for you to do something so they could shoot you in the leg, drive off. But the bus ride was nice. I got to read my book. I'm reading the book Justice by Sanders, I believe. Mike Sanders? I don't know. Harvard teacher, professor. It's really nice, man. It's one of those books that will confuse the hell out of you. It's on some like philosophical justice question. Like first chapter, talking about price gouging, which we had recently when our oil was, when the prices were going up and the oil companies are benefiting. And the argument is it wrong to price gouge? Going by some guy. People should pay what the market will bear. Look at this shit in the middle of it. And it just goes kind of back and forth on both sides of the argument. On the one hand, people should pay what the market will bear. And on the other hand, people who are in dire need. Look at this shit. It's all fresh too. Do not know. The people who are not in a position to pay are forced into circumstances because of the prices. Like like people in a flood, they need somewhere to live temporarily, and the hotel that's like $30 is now charging Hilton prices. Yesterday's prices. So it's an interesting book, and I was trying to go through the audio book, which is also interesting. But I guess the issue was, since these don't have a yes or no answer, it's hard to discuss it with people, because depending what side you be on, you might feel a certain way, and it goes all types of. So the argument, there's two sides to every story. Well, it's not. It's a little bit more complicated. Jack. Ass. Let me get this. I hope gum doesn't bother. Do squirrels like die if they be chewing on gum? Hope not. But yeah, so I was reading a book, and as I was walking to the therapist's office, she was coming out of her car. My plan was to go through the whole therapy session and just kind of end on, yeah, and I'm getting on the bus now. She's getting on the bus now? But she saw me walk in. She's like, so we started with, so you took the bus. We spent like 10 minutes after trying to explain where the bus hub is. It's like 25 minutes from the office. But again, it was a nice day. Like now, I don't mind walking nice days. Cold, raining, I don't know about that. And snow, I just don't like walking in snow. It's kind of worse than rain. I mean, rain is equally, snow is just slippery and you could fall, whatever. Wet, you end up wherever you're going all soaked, or you got to change and have a bag full of wet clothes with you. Anyway, so why so many people out today on a Friday? Better outside and alive than inside and died. Can I get an amen? Amen. So yeah, came back home and I called my cousin who could fix anything. I wonder if he could fix a broken heart. My dad needs to fix a broken heart because he misses mom. We all miss mom. But I call him. I'm like, yeah, I know you're busy, because he's the guy that everyone in the family calls on, and he's doing it. And so I'm like, I know you're busy. I left a message. He calls me back. He's like, yeah, I could come tomorrow, like after 6 o'clock. I'm like, all right, thank you. I walk into the house. I'm like, yeah, talked to Peter, cousin. I told him the situation, and he said he could come tomorrow after 6 o'clock. My dad said he can't come at 6 o'clock tomorrow because I can never say this word. The street sweeper sweeps on our side today, and if you don't move your car, you're gonna get a ticket. All right? And the ticket's $25. And my dad doesn't want to get a $25 ticket. And I thought if you call them and tell them the situation, they would be understanding. It's a one-time thing if the car is always there, but if it's a one-time thing. So I called the numbers and they finally get me to the department that handles that. I'll leave a message at like maybe 1:30. They close at 3. I call at 3:30. I'm like, yo, I've been calling. Like, yeah, they close at 3. Call tomorrow morning. I do want to call just to confirm that I was right. Cause I told my cousin, I told my dad, like, they're not gonna do it. And I think that's one of the issues with people. You don't know what people are gonna do until you ask them. And if you have a compelling story, I think that's the component that some people might be missing out. I can compel. And one time I missed the plane, right? I'm going back to Japan. And although I got there 2 hours early, it was a blizzard conditions and it was New Year's Eve in New York. So the traffic was just crazy. I had to take a taxi from wherever the bus dropped me off to get into the airport. Crazy traffic. The taxi driver, this is before Ubers, taxi driver's like whipping it. He's whipping it. When he get out the car, he's looking for a tip in it. And I'm like, I think different. I ain't got no money, but thank you. I get in there. By the time I get to the thing, my plane was flying away. The people in front of me, they're pulling out cash and credit cards to buy new tickets. I'm just like, my parents, my family's in Japan. I ain't have no family. I think I had my girlfriend. And my kids would have been my students. My kids and my family's out there, and I just So she's like, okay, I'll write you a new ticket for tomorrow. And then that was like the first time I ever slept in an airport. After that, I'll be sleeping in airports like Tom Hanks. But yeah. But other people, whatever they said got them the chance to buy a new ticket. And I saw one lady pull out change out of her purse. So yeah, you got to know how to talk. Anyway, so is that a lion? Puma? I guess it's a cat. Anyway, so my dad's all worried about me getting a $25 ticket. and like he's like shaking and just so he tells me to call my cousin again. I give the phone to my cousin's like, so what's, I tell him, you got to come. He's like, I got plans. I'm like, yeah, but my dad is, well, he knows my dad. So he's like, what sound did the car make? And he's asking me all these car questions. I don't know. All I know is you put the key in and makes a sound and you drive and that's about it. If a light comes on, it's dangerous, but apparently no one thought so. But whatever. So I was like, my dad would know. So I give the phone to my dad, and he's like, yeah, it was the bird. And then my cousin's like, I'll come over later today. So then at that point, my dad is like trying to start the battery. And then he thought maybe it's because I didn't put gas in the car. So he sends me to the gas station to get a gallon of gas. And then we get a little gallon thing and we're trying to put it in, but it's like leaking and I'm getting all gasoline on my hands. Like, oh my God, just gasoline on my hands. And I went in the house and I scrubbed. I don't know. What if my hands like catch on fire from making hot beats or something? I gotta be careful. And gas is not, it's purplish. It has a tint to it. So I learned that. So if I'm ever on a TV show and they're like, what's the color of gas? There's a purplish tint to it. So then I'm just standing there because basically my mantra is, the man said he's coming later on. So at this point, there's nothing more we can do. Let the professionals handle it. But my dad was out there fussing and he's like, I don't want you to get a ticket. It's $25, man. My dad would have a heart attack if he knew that I got this one credit card, right? And my late fee, because the situation right now, it's $40. That bites. That is what it is. In September, I will rectify all this, but right now I'm getting hit with $40 late fees. Or how about this one? I have a bank account that's joint with my mom. I took over her bank account, so if anything, so the account wouldn't close. But it's one of those accounts where you need to have $1,000 so you don't get hit with a service fee. Well, I'm at $0. So every month for the past 6 months, I've been getting hit with $10 service fees. So it's like 6 months past, $60. So, but it is what it is. I'm not going to stress about it. But my dad, on the other hand, stress. It's not a way to live, man. I mean, I do a little pre-stressing. Like, if I'm going to a new place, I might go there the day before and just kind of look at where things are. Like, if I'm going to a competition, I usually go the competition before to see what the competition is. But just see how to get from the station. I'm checking Google Maps the night before and saving it, looking at the overview, because, all that helps. And then finally, when you get on the road or get in the competition, Or, when it comes to like late fees and all that, you read your statements and you'll see what it is and you kind of draw it out. Like, all right, by the end of this term, I'm going to lose. And you move on, right? A little bit of stress. But after the fact, you just kind of ride it out. You did everything you could do. But, so my dad is like sitting on the porch now waiting for my cousin to come. Just waiting. He didn't say he's coming anytime soon. So I'm like, I had to work on a song for the Friday competition. Someone reached out and they're like, can you drop some lyrics on the beat? And, I mean, I write it out. And I guess if it was last minute, I could freestyle it out. But I write it out and I try to drop. So we use the Koala app. So I always try to drop the word koala in the rap somewhere. And whatever their rap name or producer name is, I drop that in there. And then I usually tag it with. So my producer name at this moment is Rhyming on the Beat, because I rhyme on the beat. So I might be like, and yeah, I came through and everything was sweet. And now I'm out, peace, rhyming on the beat. Just a nice little closure. That's what us old school rappers do. New rappers be like, okay, something sweet, yeah, 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 yeah. Now that's effective, but like what's a good one? Lil Wayne on Chris Brown's "Hoes Ain't Loyal." He goes, what house? See, I ain't gonna be able to call it up. Let me think. He goes, these hoes ain't loyal. I done did everything except trust these hoes. Now CB, fuck with me. But it just, anyway, Jay-Z does it a lot. A lot of rappers do it. Anyway, back to the story. So I'm working on that because I'm trying to get it done before my cousin comes back. So he comes over, and he came over like maybe an hour and a half after the phone call. He comes over and he gets in the car, he turns the key, and he's like, he's like, it's a fuel pump. Boom, he just knew it off the top. I was happy, because if it was the gas thing, that makes me look kind of stew. Now, I'm 99% sure that there was gas in there, like a quarter tank. So I always look at the meter, you know? Once the light came on, and I was like, shit, and I got gas that day. But it wasn't that, and it wasn't the engine. I mean, the light's still on, but it wasn't engine. It was the fuel pump. And apparently on this car, on my mom's car, 2 years ago, the same thing happened. So I feel not better, but you know, better. Now we have a diagnosis. So then he's like, well, I could fix it if you guys could pay for it. And I'm like, how much is it? And he's like, well, I got to make the calls. So he's calling around, and it came up to like $300 for a fuel pump thingy, and then maybe $15 for some other thing. But my cousin didn't charge for like the labor or the towing and all that, because that's what he does for I guess for the family. I am family, but I never had a car. But when I do, because it's basically, so my dad said he'll pay for it, and then when I get money, I'll pay him back. But when I get money, I'm gonna pay, I don't know the fair rate, but I think I'll give him an extra $100, because now what I don't understand, right? Everyone in my area is talking about getting their inspections, and it's due at the end of the month. But am I wrong in saying you could get your inspection at any time? Like, do you have to do it the month of, at the end of your sticker date, or can you do it at any time? Because it's like paying bills. I talked about this before, and I noticed nobody chimed in with, you're right, but you don't have to pay bills on the day that it's due. You could pay it before. It's like, I'm going to the gym now, not because the doctor said you need to get exercise. I'm going before because, one, to get the habit. So when I'm like 80, because there's 80-year-olds in there dancing and all, there'll be something that I just be doing. You know, preemptive. But yeah, if I would have, now all this is kind of, if I would have known and blah, blah, blah. But now I know, so, and probably after all this car shit is sorted, then the car will go into my name, and I'll probably sell the car and get me a new something, get my first car at 41. My dad loves to tell the story. He'd be like, I didn't have my first long pants until I was 18 years old. I didn't drive or ride a bicycle like until I was 21. I would tell my grandkids, I didn't have my first car until I was 41. But I don't think I would. They'd be like, who cares? Like, you're right. So then my cousin comes, he diagnoses that it's the fuel pump. He's like, well, then I have to come back with the tow truck to move it. So then my dad is sitting out there waiting for like 2 hours on the porch. And my cousin's like, I'll call you when I'm coming back. Just it's unnecessary. Now, it is a nice night, I guess. Whatever. So then my I go to the store because my dad's like, don't go anywhere. He's gonna call us. But where would I go? Am I going to Las Vegas now? I'm gonna walk to Philadelphia, take a bus. So I go up to CVS. I come back. I write the rap. I record it. So, and then my cousin calls, like, we'll be there in 15 minutes. My cousin comes, and my cousin and aunt came. And then we needed some space for the towing. So my dad's car is parked in front of the house. And he's like, can you move the car? I'm like, okay. So I hop in the car. Now, I never drove this car. Like, it's like a Cadillac size thing. So I never drove it. We could probably go the back way. So I never drove it. So I get in there and I'm trying to look for, like, because the shift thingies are on the wheel. And they're like stiff. You gotta like fight with them. So I'm like trying to, like, they're labeled. But, so I go in there and I put it on R. So the little light, or I guess it's a paint chip. So I put it directly on it. So it's in the middle where the R is. I push gas and nothing happens. It's like, and I'm like, okay. And then I put it in drive, and then it just moves by itself. My mom's car, if you put it in drive, you gotta push the gas to make it move. You put it in reverse, you gotta push the gas to make it move. But my dad's car, you put it in reverse and it just moves. That's tripping me out. Cause, you know, there's a car in front of us, and then my mom's car is behind us. And I don't wanna bump into the person in front. So I'm like trying to figure it out. And they're like, move the car, move the car, move the car. And I guess my cousin and aunt, because they're in the truck behind my mom's car, they're like, maybe he never drove the car. Maybe you should drive it. So then my cousin comes out and he's like, all right, I'll do it. He gets out like, he moves over there. And then my dad's like, oh yeah, you never drove the car. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, because yesterday when I was going to the therapist, like, you could drive this car. Like, oh no, I can't. I need to like go around the block a few times. So then my cousin, he comes in and he just like, it took him like 10 minutes to get the car on the tow truck, and like he was quick about it. And the whole time my dad's just still nervous. And then my aunt, she's just like, I don't worry about a thing. And then this is where like, they're all, my mom's like, but my aunt, my cousin, my dad, they're all Jamaicans. So this is when people like Jamaicans, they just be all smoking weed, and I never seen that. But my aunt, she was just kind of like, you know, don't worry, be happy. But my dad's like, I cannot be happy. I am so nervous. I'm not gonna sleep. And then I'm just like dancing around, and my aunt's like, my nephew makes me happy. He seems happy. It's absurd. I'm not happy because, you know, I gotta go and mess up my plans for a little bit. Walking to the gym's all right, but I gotta get my TB test results, and that's not walking distance. So I gotta take a bus. Stupid bus. But I can read the book. So I'm trying to, you know, make the best of everything. But it does mean I have to drive. So, all right, so everyone leaves, and my dad's like, you know, I gotta move my car to the other side, gotta move his car to the other side of the street. Something like a forest over here. I'm running in the street. There was a path, I just don't be walking through the bush. So, where are we at? 8 o'clock, good time. Actually, we're super early because we're gonna, I left too early. All right, we'll figure it out. Because I do it 8 to 9, and then Zumba's 9:40, so I got an extra 40 minutes. I do got my book with me. I could read that. Or I could make this video 40 minutes long, and I'll eat up some time. All right, we'll go with that one. Because we got like 2 more weeks of walk and talk videos, and then I'm a salary man, as they say in Japan. But so now everyone left, and my dad's saying, in the morning, maybe I won't be up, so you're gonna have to move the car across the street, or get it off the side of the street we're on, because he doesn't want to get a ticket. Across the street, there was this big open space where it seems safe, because I don't think I'll be able to parallel park with that. But this was just, there was no cars there. It was just one car here, and then in front of it was open. So I'm like, all right. I get in the car, and I'm just like trying to figure it out. And I'm asking my dad, all right, so what's going on? I'm on the drive, but it's driving. I didn't put the gas in. He's just like, and then I'm like, I'm on the reverse, and I'm not hearing any gas. You got to put on the R. But as I said, the R, look at the rabbit. Hey, rabbit, you want to be in the video? Anyway, so then my dad gets in the car. So I was asking my dad, where's your turn signals? Every car is different, right? So he's like, it's on the stick over there. And he's like, but that's the stick to go from like drive to reverse. And he's like, is that one? I was like, no, it's not. And then it's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, so he gets in the car, and then it's on the opposite, it's on the left side. Like everything's like a stick, Really confusing for me being in a new car, or his car, which I never drove. So, hey, look, it's a dead mouse. It died like this. That seemed like a horrible death. I mean, if he died like this. Anyway, so my dad gets in the car, and I'm practicing going back and forth, back, forth, and then I go around the block, and it drives like it has like a weight to it. Like my mom's car, like the wind, like if I'm on the highway and 2 trucks come beside it, I could feel like the car moving. Really scary. But this car, like, I think if a deer hit it, the deer would just get ran over, and the car would just like, I guess it was a speed bump. Like it's a heavy, it's like a classic all metal type car. Has a weight to it. So then I go around the block, and then I pull in to the parking spot across the street. And by now I'm getting the feel for it, so I'm just like, so now I'm in the spot. And my dad's like, you're too close to the curb. Now he didn't open the window, he didn't open the door, he's just saying, I'm like, I'm not, you bumped the curb. I didn't bump the curb. And then you could line it up with the mirror of the car in front of you or in the back. Now it's a different car, different size, but in general, good morning, you could line it up, and that's what I did. So unless that car was close to the curb, then. And he's like, you're too close to the curb. I'm like, he's like, all right, drive out and then come back in. It's like, why would I do all that? And then the whole time, make sure there's no cars coming. Like, I'm aware of what is coming down the road. So he's like, all right, just pull back into the spot on our side of the street, and then we'll just move it in the morning. Like, okay. So then, and he's like, go around the block. But I just pull out and then do a reverse and come in, because now I'm getting a feel for it. It's a little different, but. So then, again, you're too close to the curb. Your wheels aren't turned. So I just stop the car and get out the car and go inside. He comes inside, he gets the keys, and he goes back outside. And like, yeah, whatever. But that's how we are. We all have things the way we want it. I mean, there's no harm there, I guess. But it was just fun. And then I go to bed, I'm watching some videos, and he comes upstairs, and then he says something like, because my dad, he likes to get ice water in a jug before he goes to bed. Good morning. Actually, I mean, when I get a job, or when I get my first paychecks from my job. By the way, so Giant, the job I applied for to do like overnight stocking, they called me. They called me yesterday, but everything was happening. They didn't leave a message, and I didn't call them back. So it's quite possible they're saying, you're hired. I don't know why they wouldn't hire me. But so now that means I have my teaching job, which will be 3 days a week. My overnight stocking job, which will be still part-time, but maybe 3 days. And then I got the job taking care of my dad. And hopefully they line up nicely, because I don't want to go to work tired. So maybe that works out. And I can start getting back to normalcy. Yeah. But yeah. But my dad was saying he wanted some ice. And what he's doing these days is he puts water in he makes ice cubes in like a bucket, like an ice brick. And then he breaks the brick and he puts the cubes or the chunks in like a big container. And he does this every night. But he was in his room saying, oh, I forgot to get my ice. And I'm not going back downstairs because going up and down the steps is becoming increasingly hard for my dad. And so I hear this because my ears are like 20/20 if that's how you measure hearing. And so I run down the steps and I go where the ice is, and I'm getting the ice bucket, and I get all the bucket. And then at the same time, my dad saw the light downstairs, and he's like, oh, maybe I forgot to turn off the light. So he's coming back downstairs to turn off the light. And then I'm coming up, and I'm like, here's a bucket of ice. And he's like, I don't need a whole bucket. I just need ice. So he said, I'll come down and do it. So then he comes down, and he gives me the water jug thingy. And he said, put the ice in. I put the ice in. Pop, pop, pop. Mind you, I could have done this in the room because it's just putting ice in a bucket. I didn't add any water to it because there's water in there. And then I put the ice thing back in there, and then I go back upstairs. And then my dad comes upstairs and he's like, yeah, I thought I forgot to turn the light out. I didn't know that I forget how he said it. I didn't know that you were taking care of the old man. I'm like, yeah. But I was saying, you know how they got those water jugs that are I discovered these in Japan because my ex-girlfriend, she put hot cocoa in this like thermostat looking thing, and like 5 hours later it was still hot, and it just blew my mind, like, what the hell is that? So then she bought me my own, which I can't remember what happened to it, but they also can stay cold all night. So instead of doing all this ice shit, you can get more liquid. But the thing with my dad is you can't introduce new concepts, ideas, or products because he just gets all agitated with it. Today's going to be a double video because I didn't mean to go on and on about this, but I did. But I did have an interesting topic. So I'll end on it because I want to get in the gym, which I'm still time-wise, but when I left, so in my therapy sessions, I talk about random stuff, and like yesterday, I said something like, there's no gangs in Japan, in Easton. And she's like, there's no gangs in Easton? Yes, there is. And it's just like, I know there's gangs in Easton. My friends were in it at a time. I once went to a school, and I was late to school. And when I came in, it was on lockdown. And I'm just walking through the hallway. It looks like this. There's no one there. And usually before homeroom, people are like out and about. And then I go into my room and everyone's just like looking at me, and I sit down, and so I was like, yeah. The two rival gangs at that time, they was like stabbing each other in the hallway, and there was blood. I was like, man, don't tell me about no gangs. And then in another conversation, she's like, yeah. 'Cause I was talking about stealing. Artists Steal is a book, And she's like, yeah, it's like how how jazz was made by black people and people would steal it. I'm like, again, don't tell me. The expression, you're preaching to the choir. It's like, I would have known that, I'm black. But I also read the anthology of jazz, right? And they talk about it then. I read one, I think it was the anthology of rock. Miles Davis brought it up in his book, and Thelonious Monk brought it up in his book. And I just saw on YouTube, Little Richie was on stage giving out an award, and I think it was like a rock event. And he's like, I never got no award. Shit, I invented this shit. And in hip hop, it's like, who you talking? But anyway, but it's cool. She's telling me what she knows, and I'm just like, it goes deeper than that, man. It goes deeper. But so that was cool. And then we kind of ended on compromise. And that's what I wanted to start this video with. But that would be the second one when I come back from the gym. But compromise. She's like, Matthew, sometimes you have to compromise. Actually, I hear this a lot from people because I'm so difficult. You gotta compromise. And I'm like, but I do compromise. Like I've never told someone that they can't do whatever they're gonna do. The little mouse got ran over. If he wasn't dead, if he was sleeping like this, well, he ain't gonna get up no more. But yeah, compromise. So she's saying you gotta compromise. Like, I do compromise. And I give her some examples, like, that's not compromising. Like, what do you mean it's not compromising? And then that's where we ended. And it's like, next week, that's what we'll begin with. So I went home and I researched compromise. And here's another bunny. Look at you. I've never thought bunnies were cute, but I always see them now. So next time I go to like the pet store, the mall, I want to like say, hey, bud. Anyway, maybe I'll get a bunny. If I brought a bunny home as a pet, my dad would, what you got this in here for? I don't know, someone just to, what are you doing? Maybe I could sing to her. La da 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 da. So I guess I don't got that. But yeah. So the dictionary definition of compromise, to make concessions. When two parties come together and make concessions, they find a midway point. But it also could be used. Oh no, our government secrets have been compromised. Now it's a negative. So it's a positive and it's a negative, which is kind of interesting. I wonder how many words kind of fall under that realm. They're positive and negative. So I might come into the session like, well, that compromise could be used negatively. But that argument, you usually see this argument when people are like, they're fancy, like they wear suits and stuff, and they're trying to refute things you say, and they'd be like, usually within religion they might do this, like, well, what does this word mean? Well, in the book of such and such, and they break it down, which is an argument, but it doesn't really matter so much about. But compromise, I don't think I have ever told somebody, I mean, I draw a line, like when my friends used to smoke weed, right? I never said don't smoke weed. I just one day decided that I am not going to be compromised Because it was illegal. We're driving around smoking. But that was back in the day. I don't think we would have gotten too much trouble. But we were underage in a car. I guess it would have been bad if we got caught. We never got caught. But I just stopped riding in the car. Riding dirty. So isn't that a compromise? You do you and I'll do me. But we'll talk about this when I come back. 40 minutes, I'm telling you, man, I got a feeling. Actually, it's like 40 minutes, and look at this light there. Look. And we at the gym. This is my gym, LA Fitness. It's all right. I think I got to renew on the 27th, but I don't think I have the means to renew. I wonder if I talk to them and tell them my situation, they'll let me, yeah. But anyway, 40 minutes. All right. Oh, I got this echo. Hey. Woo. Anyway, all right, peace.